vlog. My name is Carlo and I'm from Cebu, Philippines. And if you talk to people who ride a bike here in Cebu, who do it as a leisurely activity, they'll tell you that Cebu is full of steep little hills. So there's climbs all the time unless you enjoy, cycling in traffic in the middle of the city. For me, a lot of the good riding here in Cebu, Philippines is basically a climb. So that's why I thought it might be a good idea to make this video a little tips for beginners, for people who want to learn how to climb a little bit better. So anyway, let's get to the first tip for climbing. If you are really new to cycling, like this is your first, week, month or whatever, and you still are really new to cycling, I would suggest practicing on the flats. You don't want to hit a hill right away because my view is you want to spend more time on your bike. And the problem is if you go and attack a steep hill in the beginning when you're still new to cycling, you're going to spend a lot of time possibly pushing your bike, possibly sitting on the curb, just resting. So as much as possible, you want to spend time on your bike. So that is a mistake that I feel that a lot of people here in Cebu, where I'm from, do, because as I mentioned, a lot of the really good cycling here in Cebu is up a hill. So new cyclists tend to go up a hill right away and they spend most of the time just pushing the bike. And it is not a good way for new cyclists to find the joy in riding their bike. Pushing up a bike up a hill is not very enjoyable. So for the first step, just consider riding on the flats and just learn to enjoy the bike. So for my second tip, when you finally decide to tackle a hill, one thing that you might want to consider doing is coming up with a mantra or singing a song while climbing up the hill. It'll force you to focus on something else. It'll force you to focus on something other than the pain, the tiredness of climbing up a hill. I have two kids, and when they were young, we were watching a lot of these YouTube shows of children's songs, and one of them was Baby Shark. And I remember in one of the most grueling climbs that I did, in the middle of it, I just started singing Baby Shark in my head. And it was kind of torturous, but it also forced me to focus on something else other than being tired of that ride. It's basically a way to trick your brain to focusing on something else. This will also help you on my third tip, which is find your rhythm. When starting a climb, you do not want to go hard from the very beginning, especially if it's a really long climb, because you don't want to spend all your energy in the beginning and then towards the middle or towards the top, that's when your body starts to give up. Start slow at the bottom. That way you can find your rhythm. So the mantra and the song can actually help you with that rhythm. One way to find your rhythm and make sure that you're not exerting too much effort in the beginning, which will lead on to my fourth tip, which is breathe through your nose. It's actually really good training to breathe through your nose. In the YouTube description, I'll link to an article that says that there's a lot of benefits from breathing through your nose. But I think one of the main reasons why you should breathe through your nose is that it'll force yourself to not exert too much energy. So once you start breathing through your mouth, that might be a signal pointing that you are expanding too much energy on the climb. Which brings me to my fifth tip, which is don't be afraid to slow down. Climbs are hard and there's always somebody faster than you. This is something that I find difficult for me. I hate, honestly speaking, I'm a competitive person, so I hate seeing somebody overtake me. And when that happens, sometimes I try to keep up with them, but the truth is there's a lot more cyclists faster than me and there's nothing I can do about it. So trying to keep up with other cyclists has made it unnecessarily difficult to climb on certain days. But don't be afraid to go slow. Going on to my next tip. This isn't going to be a video about gear, but it should be noted that certain gear choices will make a difference. For example, generally speaking, if you have a bigger gear in the back and a smaller gear in the front, it will allow you to spin your legs a lot easier so that will mean being able to go up steeper hills easier. But also getting like a lighter bike will make it easier to go up the hills. But I wanna take note that having a lighter bike is overrated. You spend so much money just to get a few 100 grams off the weight. The other best way to climb better is just to lose weight. That's my next tip. If you lose weight, you will find it a lot easier to climb. So a lot of people focus on the weight of the bike, but the truth is, you are the heaviest thing on that bike. No matter how light you are still heavier than the bike. It is a lot easier and probably a lot healthier to lose a few pounds or kilos on your body than it is to just spend so much money on a lighter bike. If you can find ways to lose weight, that'll make climbing a lot easier. For my next tip, don't be afraid to take breaks. Sometimes when you go up a really long climb, you can imagine it gets really tiring and you should just take a 5 or 10 minute break. You'd be surprised by how big a difference a break will do to how fresh you will feel. A 5 to 10 minute break will do wonders. On my 9th tip to make climbing easier for beginners, practice standing up while cycling. Standing up while cycling has a few advantages. First off is you end up changing your position a little bit, which means you'll be engaging different muscles, which means you'll end up changing your hand positions, your seat position, which will help alleviate the touch points on your bike. Just makes everything less sore. But also, especially when you run out of gears, standing on your bike will allow you to put up more power when you're climbing. There are certain situations where it's really steep and it's just easier to stand up and climb. Now, I'm not gonna get to how to do it. There's probably another video out there where it'll teach you how to stand up on your bike and climb, but practice standing up on your bike while climbing. On to my next tip. The next tip is relax. Relax. It is a lot easier to climb when you are relaxed. Sometimes you don't realize it, but you might be really tense when you're climbing. You might be gripping the handlebar too tightly. You might be gritting your teeth. Maybe your shoulders are tense. Maybe your upper body is just being really tense. And that is expending unnecessary energy that is better suited for your legs. Just try to relax. So that goes back to finding your pace, to going slower than you think you should. So just relax. That is a easy way to find extra energy. And probably the most important tip is just practice going up hills. Yeah, the truth is going up a hill never gets easy. You just get a little bit faster. So just keep practicing going up hills. Go up different hills. Look for different kinds of hills. Look for the long, slow, inclined hills. And also look for those really short, steep hills. And all of those experiences will make you a better climber. Now, lastly, this is my personal favorite tip. It's basically a mental switch to when I'm climbing. So mentally speaking, I treat every climb the same. So to me, every climb is the same climb. It doesn't matter what the incline is, etc. To me, they are all the same. That's what I say in my head. This forces me to treat every climb the same way. None is harder than the other. I can make every climb a hard climb. It doesn't even have to be it can even be a 1, 2, or 3% incline. If I am going all out, then that is going to be a hard climb. It can be a 20% incline and I'm going 2 kilometers per hour, and that's still going to be a hard climb. Just changing my perspective and saying that all the climbs are the same has helped me mentally prepare for it. Of course, strictly speaking, every climb is not the same. There are climbs that are harder than others, but this mental switch does wonders for me, and it might do the same for you, because when they are all the same, then you're not putting a particular climb on a pedestal. You're not saying that, oh, this climb is really hard, so I'm not gonna do it just yet. So when they're all the same, you are gonna happily tackle every climb. And I think that's important to your practice. That is important to practicing riding your bike up different hills. So don't get scared about trying all of these different hills. The worst case is if you can't get up there, then you just walk your bike. No big deal. Okay, so I hope those tips were helpful. I hope they can help you climb up a hill or a mountain a lot easier. I just remember what it was like being a beginner and trying to climb up a hill. I'm not the fastest hill climber, but since I have no choice, I end up going up a lot of hills where I live, and hopefully these tips were helpful to you. So, more videos soon. If you haven't yet, subscribe. Let me know if you want some tips or if you want me to talk about a particular topic. I would be happy to oblige. Alright, see you next time. No boring days. Bye!